On December 26, 2024, China did something nobody expected. They flew their sixth-generation fighter jet in broad daylight in front of cameras and let the whole world watch. Those visuals were particularly unsettling for the Americans, whose sixth-generation program had been running in total secrecy for years. It posed two questions. What if China's approach is actually working faster? And what does it mean for the rest of the world if they're right? This is the story of how two nations built the most advanced combat aircraft in human history, using completely opposite strategies to get there, with one doing it publicly and one doing it in the dark. Let's get into it. Chapter 1. Why both countries threw out their old playbooks. To understand what the F-47 and J-36 actually are, you first need to understand what broke the previous generation badly enough that both superpowers decided to start over from first principles. For the United States, the crisis was geography, particularly the brutal geometry of the Pacific Ocean. The F-22 Raptor is, by any reasonable measure, the greatest air superiority fighter ever built. Its combination of supercruise, all-aspect stealth, and sensor fusion made it essentially untouchable in the environment it was designed for. The problem is that it was designed for a European land war that never happened, and its combat radius of roughly 460 nautical miles is almost laughably insufficient for a Pacific conflict where the distances between viable bases and meaningful targets are measured in thousands of miles. In a shooting war over Taiwan, the F-22 would spend most of its operational time dependent on aerial refueling tankers, large, slow, radar-visible aircraft that every Chinese defense system in the region could track from hundreds of kilometers away. The Raptor's stealth advantage dissolves the moment it needs a gas station that glows like a lighthouse on enemy radar. China's crisis was different but equally existential. Despite the J-20's genuine capabilities, Chinese aerospace engineers understood that their engine technology, historically one of China's most persistent military-industrial weaknesses, wasn't going to be competitive at the highest level without a fundamental rethink. And beyond engines, China's broader strategic problem was that American carrier strike groups represented a power projection capability that could theoretically park itself in China's maritime backyard and conduct sustained combat operations. The J-36 wasn't conceived as a dogfighter. It was conceived as the answer to that specific problem, a platform capable of ranging deep into the Philippine Sea, commanding autonomous systems, and making American carrier groups think very carefully about how close they wanted to get. Both countries, from completely different starting points, arrived at the same conclusion. The next aircraft couldn't just be better than what came before. It had to operate on a fundamentally different set of principles. Chapter 2. The F-47, America's invisible precision instrument. The F-47's origin story involves a level of secrecy that makes the F-117's development look relatively transparent by comparison. DARPA launched the foundational research in 2014 under the penetrating counter-air concept, and by 2020, years before the public knew the program existed, full-scale technology demonstrators were already flying over classified test ranges and breaking performance records that remain classified to this day. When Air Force Secretary Frank Kendall and President Trump formally announced the Boeing contract award in March 2025, the defense world's reaction was split between genuine surprise at the Boeing selection and the dawning realization that the program had been progressing in complete silence for over a decade. Boeing winning over Lockheed Martin was the upset nobody saw coming. And it's worth understanding why it happened, because it reveals a lot about what the Air Force actually wanted. Boeing's proposal centered on what they called digital maturity, a full-scale digital twin of the aircraft that allowed engineers to simulate every aspect of performance, from radar cross-section to maintenance cycles, before a single physical component was manufactured. This wasn't just an engineering preference. It was a direct response to the F-35 disaster, where late-stage design discoveries created cost overruns and schedule delays that consumed a generation of defense budget. Boeing was essentially promising that the F-47 would be finished before it was built, that every significant problem would be discovered and solved in simulation. For an Air Force that had watched the F-35 program bleed money for 2 decades, that pitch landed exactly right. What the F-47 actually looks like remains largely classified, but enough has leaked through engine development videos and program statements to build a reasonably confident picture. The airframe is tailless or near tailless, a design choice that's not aesthetic but functional, eliminating the vertical stabilizers that act as radar reflectors across multiple frequency bands, and giving the aircraft what the Air Force describes as stealth plus capability, meaning effective radar invisibility not just against conventional X-band systems, but against the low-frequency early warning radars that can currently detect the F-22. The blended wing body that results from this design also creates significant internal volume, supporting a combat radius exceeding 1,000 nautical miles, more than double the F-22's range, without requiring the constant tanker dependency that makes the Raptor so vulnerable in Pacific scenarios. The engine program is where the F-47 makes its most significant engineering leap. The General Electric XA-102 and Pratt & Whitney XA-103 are adaptive cycle engines built around a third stream of airflow that can be modulated in real time, allowing the aircraft to function as a fuel-efficient long-range transit platform during the Pacific crossing and then reconfigure itself into a high-performance combat engine the moment it enters the engagement zone. That same third stream acts as a heat sink for the enormous thermal loads generated by the aircraft's advanced radar systems, electronic warfare suite, and the directed energy weapons it's designed to eventually carry. It's an engine that's solving 3 separate problems: range, performance, and thermal management simultaneously, and nothing like it has ever flown in an operational military aircraft. Chapter 3. The J-36, China's triple-engine monster. When the J-36 appeared on December 26, 2024, the first thing that struck every analyst looking at the footage was how big it was. Not large fighter, big. Genuinely, almost shockingly large. Estimated wingspan of roughly 65 feet, length around 62 feet, total weight believed to be in the 50 to 60 metric ton range. For context, the J-20, already a big aircraft by fighter standards, looks compact next to the J-36. This thing is approaching the physical scale of a light bomber. The second thing analysts noticed was the 3 engines, and that configuration tells you almost everything you need to know about China's engineering strategy. Underpowered engines have been the persistent Achilles heel of Chinese military aviation for decades. A problem rooted in materials science, manufacturing precision, and decades of accumulated development experience that can't simply be purchased or reverse engineered quickly. Rather than wait for their engine technology to mature to a point where 2 power plants could reliably push a 50-ton aircraft through the performance envelope they needed, Chinese engineers made a pragmatic decision: use 3 engines. The 2 lateral engines sit in conventional positions with lower side intakes, while a third dorsal engine is fed by an inlet mounted on top of the fuselage, a configuration that also conveniently shields the engine's heat signature from above, reducing the infrared detectability that's become an increasingly important factor in modern air combat. The second prototype, which began testing in late 2025, was observed with 2D thrust vectoring nozzles, suggesting that despite its bomber-scale proportions, the J-36 is designed to pull off high-agility maneuvers in specific flight regimes when the mission demands it. But the most revealing design choice on the J-36 isn't the engines, it's the cockpit. The J-36 appears to seat 2 crew members side by side, which is a configuration you essentially never see on a modern fighter. That layout makes no sense if you're building an air superiority jet. It makes complete sense if you're building a battle management platform. one person flying and managing the aircraft's survival, and one person running a distributed kill web of autonomous drones, processing targeting data from multiple sensor sources, and directing precision strikes against targets the aircraft itself may never get close to. The J-36 isn't trying to be the world's best fighter. It's trying to be the world's most capable airborne command post, wrapped in a stealthy airframe that can survive in contested airspace long enough to do its actual job. That distinction, fighter versus mothership, is the fundamental philosophical divide between the F-47 and J-36. And it shapes every other comparison you can make between them. Chapter 4. Drone Swarm Question. Here's something both programs agree on completely, which is itself worth paying attention to. Neither the F-47 nor the J-36 was designed to fight alone. The U.S. Air Force's Collaborative Combat Aircraft Program has produced two initial prototypes, the General Atomics YFQ-42A Dark Merlin and the Anduril YFQ-44A Fury. The Dark Merlin is built around the concept of affordable mass, carrying additional sensors and missile rails to extend the F-47's strike reach without putting the $300 million crewed aircraft in range of threats that a cheaper autonomous platform can handle. The Fury runs Shield AI's HiveMind autonomy software, which allows it to execute complex tactical maneuvers, coordinate with other drones, and maintain mission effectiveness even when communication links to the F-47 are jammed or degraded. The vision the Air Force has articulated involves a single F-47 quarterback coordinating up to 1,000 of these drones across a massive battle space. Not micromanaging each one, but setting objectives and letting the autonomous systems figure out execution. China's equivalent is the FH-97A, which was revealed publicly at the Zhuhai Air Show and is believed to have reached active service by late 2025. It's a stealth-optimized unmanned combat aircraft capable of carrying PL-15 and PL-10 air-to-air missiles, and its primary role in the J-36's operational concept is to form a protective armed layer around the manned aircraft, flying ahead into high-threat zones, soaking up enemy missile fire, and identifying air defense positions that the J-36's weapons can then neutralize from standoff range. In the context of a Taiwan conflict specifically, the concept involves FH-97A swarms, clearing corridors through Taiwanese and American air defenses before the J-36 ever enters the engagement zone, using mass and expendability to solve problems that stealth alone can't. The philosophical difference here is interesting. America's drone concept treats the CCA as a force multiplier for the manned aircraft's precision. China's drone concept treats the drones as the primary threat vector and the J-36 as the brain that directs them. One approach values the human in the loop as the ultimate precision instrument. The other values the human as the cognitive hub of a mass attrition system. Which philosophy works better in actual combat is something neither country fully knows yet, and both are watching Ukraine's drone warfare lessons very carefully for clues. Chapter 5. The Psychological Operation. In 2024, China unveiled something at the Zhuhai Air Show that sent Western analysts into a mild frenzy. A full-scale mock-up called the White Emperor, or Baidi Type B, which was presented as an integrated space air fighter capable of hypersonic flight and near-space operations. The design looked like something from a science fiction film. Claims attached to it were extraordinary. Western intelligence services and defense analysts spent considerable resources trying to determine whether this was a real program or an elaborate bluff. It was a bluff. Specifically, it was part of something called the Nantianmen Project, a science fiction universe created by the Aviation Industry Corporation of China primarily to generate national pride and attract young engineering talent into the aerospace sector. The White Emperor was essentially a very expensive recruiting poster dressed up as a weapons program. But here's the part that makes this genuinely interesting from a strategic standpoint. It worked anyway, in a way its creators may not have fully intended. By forcing American analysts to seriously evaluate whether China was developing a near-space fighter, the White Emperor consumed analytical bandwidth and generated public alarm that had real effects on defense budget conversations and program urgency. Meanwhile, the actual sixth-generation work, the J-36 and J-50 programs making steady, unglamorous progress at Lop Nur, proceeded with significantly less outside scrutiny. You don't have to intend a psychological operation for it to function as one, and China's defense establishment has shown a consistent willingness to let the world's imagination do some of the strategic work for them. Chapter 6. Who's actually winning? This is the question everyone wants a clean answer to, and the honest response is that the clean answer doesn't exist. But the uncomfortable nuances are more interesting anyway. China has two sixth-generation prototypes in active flight testing right now, at a facility near the Lop Nur nuclear test site that satellite imagery shows has been massively expanded to support the program. Runways over 3 miles long, hangars exceeding 300 feet in width, the kind of infrastructure you build when you're planning for sustained, high-tempo testing across multiple airframes simultaneously. The J-36's first flight happened in December 2024. A second prototype with meaningful design refinements was in the air by October 2025. China has publicly stated an intention to field an operational J-36 by 2030. The pace is real. America's F-47, by contrast, is targeting its first production representative flight for 2028, with initial operating capability not expected until the mid-2030s. The classified X-plane program has been flying since 2020, which means significant technology maturation has already happened out of public sight, but the production aircraft is still years from its first flight, and the F-22 fleet has to be kept flying and upgraded in the meantime to cover the capability gap. That's an aging aircraft being asked to remain credible against an adversary that's actively developing the system designed to defeat it. The American argument against the China is winning narrative focuses on systems integration, the gap between flying a prototype and producing an aircraft whose radar, electronic warfare, engine management, autonomous teaming, and AI co-pilot systems all work together coherently in contested conditions. China has historically struggled with exactly this kind of deep integration work, and flying a jet is not the same as fielding a functional weapons system. The F-47's digital twin approach and modular open systems architecture are specifically designed to solve integration problems faster than traditional development methods allow, and America's classified X-plane program has been quietly validating those solutions for years. Both arguments are legitimate. Which one is more right is something only the aircraft themselves will eventually resolve. Somewhere over the Pacific, in conditions that nobody currently wants to think about too carefully. What's your take on this comparison between the American and Chinese sixth-generation aircraft? Let us know in the comments. And for more such interesting insights on modern warfare, take a look at War Explained.